Yontif means a good Yom Tov, a good day in Yiddish. Shana Tova, Umituka, Tidaber, Harbe, Ve'aroch. And in English that means please speak long and forever. To saying, I wasn't gonna, but you said it. Shana Tova, I'm Rabbi Paul Kipnis, Cantor Doug Kotler on the guitar and white robe. We are here at Congregational Army. Rabbi Julia is running our youth program, but will join us at some time during this service. Shana Tova, we are thrilled you are all here with us. Let's begin with holiness. It's up on the screen.
Adonai Elohechem, Ani Adonai Elohechem. La la la, always striving, endless, reaching, trying, knowing we can be holy. God told Moses, speak to the people of Israel, say to them all, you shall be holy, for I, Adonai, am holy. La la la, seeking justice, truth, and kindness moves us closer to our Creator, always striving, endless, reaching, trying, knowing we can be holy, seeking justice, truth, and kindness moves us closer to our Creator. God told Moses, speak to the people of Israel, say to them all, you shall be holy, for I, Adonai, am 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 Kiddushim Tihiyuki Kadosh, Ani Adonai Elohechem, Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Shana Tova. A few announcements that we need to do. First of all, there are doors around the sides. If you need to use the restrooms, the facilities are out the back doors. Just go out any of the side ones and around. If there are any youth, teens in the room, we have been asked by the theater that each year graces us with the ability to be here, that people don't hang out in the foyer. So if you're here, thank you for being here, and we'll stay here together. Unless you are a doctor or a parent with kids in childcare, I'm going to ask you to take a moment and just turn your cell phone off or to silent or at the worst vibrate. We're just going to ask you to do that so it doesn't interrupt. But everybody look up here for a second. This is my high holiday self. Choir selfie. Okay, I'm done. You
Remember
laughed.
Rabbi Julia's sermon last night?
Yeah.
You can't control everything.
Said differently, now, having seen that little spectacle, you know it's time to turn off your cell phone, so thank you. Want to remind everybody, family services here at 2:15, Tashlich at the beach at 4:30, Paradise Cove in Malibu. There are a number of times during the service I'm going to invite you to stand. If you're able to, if it works for you, please do so. If standing is difficult, stay seated. God knows what's in your heart. Just direct your heart to the Holy One. The Orami Chorale will lift us up, sing with us, conducted by the incomparable Betty Ross Bloomer and our wonderful instrumentalists, especially Aaron Meyer on the piano. Thank you all so very much. We'll introduce everybody else later on in this holiday season. If there's a medical emergency, contact any usher anywhere. We have a doctor on call. In case of emergency, we'll go out through the exits up above and here and move out. If you have kids in youth childcare, in an emergency, they will be brought out to the fountain area. Please pick them up. Visual tefillah. We have this great thing here. You remember it? There. Page number will always be here. That's Orem. Always have a backup. That's Orami, a new logo, Congregation Orami, your home. Wait, your? Like you are home or it's your home? It's both. Oh my God, that worked so great. I love it. And then in here will be all sorts of words. If the technology makes you uncomfortable, look at me. Ignore that. The sermon today will be wrapped within the Torah service. Okay, so in between the Aliyot, I'll be speaking and saying some things. So if you go out, you're going to miss it. And lastly, take a moment and introduce yourself to the people either beside you, in front, behind, the ones you don't know particularly. We're going to be here for about 4.5 hours. No, just two, sorry.
How you doing? Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Oh, how you doing? Hey, how you doing?
Okay, Let's turn to page 34. Page 34. Even before that, a child is holding 2 juicy, delicious apples, red, perfect. A young boy, his mom comes over and says, "Wow, look at that, sweetie. May I have one?" And the boy looks at his mom, looks at the apples, takes one, takes a bite. Looking at her, he takes another bite of the other one. The mom does everything she can not to show her disappointment. that he hadn't learned the lesson of sharing, which was a good thing, because a moment later, he handed the second apple to the mom and said, "Here, Mommy, this one's sweeter." Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, the high holy days are to remind us not only about kindness and about sharing, but to slow down before we judge, because we don't always know what's going on in other people's minds, hearts, or lives. Page 34. It is Rosh Hashanah, the beginning of a new year. God, you have given this new year to us to use as we choose. We can waste it or we can use it well. We can make it a year to be remembered for its joy, its holiness, its worthwhile achievements. Or we can let it become a year filled with pettiness and complaint and meanness and anger and all those political ads that are going to poison our lives. What we do this coming year matters because we invest in it a year of precious life. But when next your Rosh Hashanah comes, this year will be gone forever. So we pray. May the year to come be a gain, not a loss, good, not evil, a success, not failure. There will be beauty during this coming year, and we do not want to miss it. There will also be cries of people in distress. We do want to hear them. We want to do all in our power to respond together. The old year is gone, the ledger is closed. Our book of life is now open to a new page, a gap bright with whiteness. No sins blot it, no indiscretions blemish it. Catch that line there. How shall we direct the pen? We write the story in the book of our lives, in the Sefer HaChaim. You do. What are you going to write this coming year? When next Rosh Hashanah comes, may we be able to look back without regret and look forward without anxiety. May Rosh Hashanah inspire us with an eager spirit and a thankful heart. Page 38.
Read responsively. Each of us enters the sanctuary this Rosh Hashanah morning with a different need. Some hearts are full of gratitude and joy. They are overflowing with the happiness of love and the joy of life. They are eager to confront the day to make the world more fair. They are recovering from illness or have escaped misfortune, and we rejoice with them.
Some hearts feel sorrow, disappointment,
Switch positions.
Some hearts are embittered. They have sought answers in vain. Ideals are mocked and betrayed. Life has lost its meaning and value. May the knowledge that we, too, are searching restore their hope and give them courage to believe that not all is emptiness.
O source of strength, help us in our common need and striving to gain strength from one another as we share our joys, lighten each other's burdens, and pray for the welfare of our community.
41. We want to make a special welcome to those of you who are worshiping with us through the live stream. Thank you to Steve for running it, and thank you to Bronze Productions for making it possible. I know that last night praying with us, we had one of our students in Copenhagen, another down in Brazil. We had people checking in from Guatemala, from all over the states. In Pennsylvania, we had in Oregon. We had people in hospital beds and people in homes as people recover. And so we're glad you're worshiping with us. May this service bring you a sense of being home with us, a sense of healing and strength as it does to us here. We pray.
If you're lost, you feel afraid, and you don't know what to say, then listen, listen to our God. Is there a question on your mind? Is the answer hard to find? Then listen, listen to our God. Listen with all your heart and soul, and with all your mind. Write them and learn them and teach them well, every morning and night. Close your eyes and listen. Quiet yourself, there's nothing to say. Stop all the chatter that gets in the way. To our God. When the wind and the thunder finally disappear, there's still a voice that you will hear if you listen. Listen to our God. You can hear it from the top of the highest hill, from the valley below. It can come from the edge of the universe. It can come from within your soul. Close your eyes. Adonai
Love Adonai your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your might.
Teach them
Repeatedly to your children, instruct them again and again.
In the privacy of your home.
Tie them to your handiwork as a sign. Wear them as a mark of Jewish identity. Inscribe them in the mezuzah. Place them on the entrances to your homes. That you may remember to do all of the mitzvot and remain a people consecrated to the service of the one who brought you out of the land of Egypt, and thus become the God of Israel.
We read responsibly.
The Kabbalists tell us that God, in creating the world, took some of its fresh new light and poured it into each of the vessels of the spheres of the universe. As the sparks of light fell, they took on forms and embedded themselves in physical things, wood and water, plants and paper, and living creatures. Since that time, the sparks yearned to return to the source of all light, the single holy light from which they fell.
May our prayers be pleasing to you, because the lips which speak them also speak words of hope to the discouraged, cheer to the distressed, solace to the bereaved, and kindness to all. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I read the wrong one. Thus we have the power through each mitzvah we do to redeem the sparks of light. In just such a way, God redeemed us from the tyranny of the Egyptians.
Many nights we've prayed with no proof anyone could hear. In our hearts a hopeful song we barely understood. Now we are not afraid, although we know there's much to fear. We were moving mountains long before we knew we could. There can be miracles when you believe. Though hope is frail, it's hard to kill. Who knows what miracles you can achieve? When you believe, somehow you will. You will when you believe. In this time of fear, when prayer so often proved in vain, hope seemed like the summer birds too swiftly flown away. But now I'm standing here with heart so full I can't explain, seeking faith and speaking words I never thought I'd say. There can be miracles when you believe. Though hope is frail, it's hard to kill. Who knows what miracles you can achieve? When you believe, somehow you
Page 44, we read responsively, "May our prayers be pleasing to you because they are spoken with sincerity and with truth." May our prayers be pleasing to you because they are offered in gratitude for your manifold blessings, too numerous to be counted, too constant to be deserved. May our prayers be pleasing to you because the lips which speak them also speak words of hope to the discouraged, cheer to the distressed, solace to the bereaved, and kindness to all. May our prayers be pleasing to you because they remind us of what you expect of us and because they challenge us to become all that we are capable of being.
Each year, this glorious congregation is led by some amazing people who combine a sense of community, a love of Torah, a love of this Jewish world with business acumen, understandings of organization, and more. It is my honor and privilege to introduce our president, Fred Gruber.
Boker Tov, good morning and Shana Tova. It's hard to believe that a year has passed since I stood before you last Rosh Hashanah. It's been truly a blessed year for me as your president. With great pride, I want to acknowledge the many people who led our congregation, supported us on our way, and continue today to help us achieve so much each and every day. Please hold your clapping until all have been identified. I would like to acknowledge our past presidents, Michael Kaplan, Gene Student, Lucille Golden, Hetty Gross, and Gary Kaplan, for their wisdom, guidance, and dedication. Thank you to all of our board members, committee members, and other volunteers, current and past. So much of the work we do happens because of your dedication. To our amazing staff, Susie Stark, Lizette Tui, Jenny Mazzella, Jen Quick, Diane Townsend, Lori Tragan-Boykoff, and Andrew Fromer, you are the best. Your day-to-day support of our congregation is outstanding. To our teachers, one of the most important aspects of Judaism is to teach our children and pass down l'dor vador, our culture and traditions. Our teachers deliver on this mission in exemplary ways. I'd also like to thank our chorale and our musicians for bringing sweet music to enhance our experience in the congregation. To our clergy, Rabbi Paul Kipnis, Cantor Doug Kotler, and Rabbi Julia Weiss, you inspire us every day with your spiritual guidance, knowledge of Torah, wisdom at and beyond the Bima, and through your wonderful, caring souls. Let's give them all a round of applause. I remember when my wife Susie and I first attended Rosh Hashanah services at Congregation ORME. We were fortunate to know a few people, and that of course made it easy for us to consider coming. What followed, however, blew us away. Not only were we embraced by those we knew, so many others welcomed us with open arms, warm hugs, and caring conversation. It was one of the best Rosh Hashanah services we had attended in years. We went to Tashlich at the beach in Malibu, our first Tashlich ever. Well, the rest is history. We felt so comfortable amongst all these new people, we had to join. Since that time, we've made Congregation ORME our second home and have made a multitude of new friends that we know will last a lifetime. Last year, one of my goals was to find ways for our ORME partners and board members to become more engaged in our unique community, our Kehillah Kiddushah. We also look to enhance our systems to give us greater visibility from an accounting perspective, as well as knowledge on how to better serve our partnership. I'm proud to tell you that our partnership numbers are up, exceeding our annual goal. We balanced our budget, put in new flooring at the synagogue, and put some funds away for a rainy day. Not many congregations in Southern California can say any of that. Our accounting process has been enhanced significantly with new systems and, most importantly, with the help and oversight by great people that we rely on to guide us with financial acumen and a fiduciary care that truly looks out for the best interest of our congregation. This year, we've kveled with an adult B'nai Mitzvah class. We've reinforced together our values in an inclusion Shabbat. We've celebrated so many bar and bat mitzvahs. We enjoyed bowling and car scavenger nights, and we regularly gathered for men's and women's nights out. We've learned from wonderful speakers on a variety of topics, and over 40 of us traveled to Israel together. We continue to support programs for Tikkun Olam, repairing the world, like Mitzvah Day to help foster children. The holiday shopping spree for at-risk youth, began a major project to address homelessness, and begun tackling the tough issues around mental health and teen mental health and wellness. We have amazing Friday night services to lift us up through Torah reading, Torah learning, many themed with different spins that filled the sanctuary, and a wonderful, engaging series of programs that keep our teens and youth active and involved. There are so many more activities, too many to name. I'm happy to say I had the opportunity and privilege to be present for most of them. I'm happier to say that a lot of you joined me. Rabbi Paul recently shared a Facebook post that spoke about whether the glass was half full, half empty, or just needed to be refilled. What we accomplished at ORME this year shows that our glass can truly be viewed full, but only half full. Even as our synagogue community is growing, I know that some families have not renewed their partnership with our congregation. To all of you, I'd like to make a request. If we didn't meet your expectations, please let me know why and what we can do to help you find a second home at Congregation ORME. I'd like to ask you to give us another chance. You might help us understand the part of the glass that is still half empty. We all would like to have you come back and be part of our family again to help us start refilling the glass. I also want to reach out to all who have never been part of our partnership. We welcome you with open arms. Please consider converting your high holiday tickets that you purchased to a full partnership in Congregation ORME. Your participation will also help to keep refilling our glass. To our current partners, I'm counting on you to help us keep our glass full. So why belong, you might ask? Because we have so many great activities coming up. The Jewish community, our Jewish community, strives to deliver unparalleled educational programs for our children. This month, we kick off our new Menschify program to help children and parents become Menschas, kind, compassionate people. Similarly, our teens and youth love coming to ORME, and our program's growth in participation is evidence that it works. We continue to bring forth programs for our adults as well, with vigorous activities including a baby boomers group, a new speaker series led by scholars from the Hebrew Union College, a new adult B'nai Mitzvah class, a new adult confirmation program, a monthly Nosh and Drosh lunch and learn at Lovey's Deli, and Torah study open to the whole community led by our rabbis. We will also welcome the president of the Union for Reform Judaism, our national organization, and also learn from special guests who come from Israel to talk to us about how Israelis and Palestinians have found a way to live together. There will be many more activities to attend. Let's use all these opportunities to get together and keep filling our glass. My ability to be an effective president is enhanced by the grace and love of my wife, Susie, who is so very active in our community in her own right. To Susie, I just want to thank you for the love and support you give each and every day. My love of this Orami community fills my soul, and I look forward to another year of growth, spiritual enlightenment, and great friendships. So to all of you, I wish you a good year, a sweet year, a blessed year. Shana Tova.
The shofar is sounded 3 times during our services here at Orami, actually a 4th if you count Ne'ilah, the concluding service. Our Baal Tkiyah is David Weiss, the one who will lead us. Sounding of the shofar is not a time for clapping, it's a time for listening. You don't clap in the morning when that alarm clock goes off, do you? Because you don't want to get out of bed. We don't want to get moving. We want to pull those covers tight, bury our head in the pillow, and just sleep a few more minutes, hours, or what have you. But the shofar is that alarm clock. It says, what you doing? It's time to get moving. The world is going by, and you may not be the one you could be. You should be. The shofar comes with those blasts, 1 together, Tkiyah, then 3 broken, and then 9 or 10 staccato really broken, the shattering of our lives that happens. Sometimes because of what we do, sometimes because of what happens to us, but always because we don't push through to become the people we could be, we should be. So we'll listen to the shofar at various times in our service. Take in the sound. Let it push you to make that change. Let it push you to be more giving. Let it push you to repair those relationships. Let it push you to get back in touch with your soul. The service is up on the screen. Malchuyot, God's sovereignty. Creator of all, in this startling age when we probe into the very code of our being and try to change the order of your works, we cry aloud to know what mystic force you are. Our scientists daily explore the cosmos and discover forces and states of matter even more confounding than our ancestors ever imagined. Together, science has not tamed the universe. Help us to sense your spirit when we yearn for truth and righteousness, when we strive to create the good and beautiful, when we work for justice and peace. May our daily deeds bear witness that you reveal yourself now through us together. O God, who revealed yourself to the end. Please rise. We will do the blessings in Hebrew, then English, Hebrew, then English.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kirshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lishmoa kol shofar.
Together, blessed is the eternal God, guide of the universe. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of time and time, who sanctifies us through mitzvot, and commands us to listen to the sounding of the shofar.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehecheanu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lahazman hazeh.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of time and space, for giving us life, for sustaining us, and for enabling us to reach this season. Amen. Tkiya, Shivarim, Teruah, Tkiya, Tkiya, Shivarim, Tkiya, Tkiya, Teruah, Tkiya. Page 45.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ahel Hagadol, Hagibor veHanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekone Hakol, Vezocher Chasdei Avot veImahot, Umevi Geula Livnei Vnehem, Lema'an Shemo ve'ahava. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Vezrat Sarah, Hakolenu, Ben Ashuva, Shva.
page 48. The words of Unatana Tokef resonate deeply in our souls because they reassure us that through repentance, prayer, and righteous deeds of love, our lives can attain their highest potential. On Rosh Hashanah, it is written, hang on. So listen, the next prayer, it's one of the toughest ones, second only to the Torah portion we're going to read. It's one of the toughest ones because if you read it in its literal, it says, God says who's going to live and who's going to die, who's by fire, who by water, who by storm, who by flood, who's going to be brought up high, who's going to be sent down low. And then it suggests that if we just do repentance, prayer, and give a whole bunch of tzedakah, I'm still okay with that part, that God will in 10 days change it all and make it happen. That's called default theology. You know what default theology is? When my iPhone is not working, I love my iPhone, I go to the Apple store, to the Genius Bar, and then we spend like 20 minutes trying to figure it out, or an hour, and we can't quite figure it out. Not because of them, they're great, but because it just sounds not right. And so they say, suppress that button that says restore factory settings. That's going back to the default. I should go all the way back. I've always backed up. You should be backing up too. If you don't, that's just a sin, okay? But you go back to default theology. You go back to the original settings. Well, default theology is that stuff that's in the Torah that's hard to deal with. It says God rewards the good and punishes the bad. That's a basic theology that most of us in this room aren't, and watching, praying with us on the screen, aren't going to grasp onto. And yet, we read this prayer. So the English, we'll read in a minute, plays with it a little bit, tries to interpret it. How do I deal with it? I deal with it that there's this big fan here, right? And every so often in life, for all of us, what happens? The stuff hits the fan. That's life. Probably shouldn't have done it that way, but you get the idea. So that's life. Stuff in this imperfect world that was created by God but is not God. Stuff happens, good stuff and bad stuff. And some of it happens because of people like you and me who don't live up to our highest potentials and don't do the good that we should be doing and don't care for others like we're supposed to and take and take and take. But we'll talk about that later. So this reminds us that when the stuff happens, you got three things to do. One is clean up your relationships. Work it through where at all possible. Not all can, but a lot can. You clean that up, you won't go skulking around in life. Give tzedakah, whether it's money, time, energy, or a combination, because when you lift others up, what happens? You get lifted up too. And you know what? Don't wait for once a year to figure it out. Don't go to the gym once a year. Work on your soul, your heart. I love that you're here. And no guilt, because I don't do that stuff. But probably by saying I don't do it, I'm guilting you now, so I apologize for that. Because I really don't mean that. I love you all. But listen, whether it's here or in yoga or in meditation or out there, work on that soul. Find your center. Don't wait till you're old or when you're dying or when you're sick or after that accident. Do it now, because then it's so great way after. Or, on Rosh Hashanah it is written, and on Yom Kippur it is sealed. Who shall live and who shall die together? Who shall be pierced? Who shall be tormented by the fire of ambition, and whose hopes shall be quenched by the waters of failure? Who shall be content with his lot, and who shall wander in search of her satisfaction? Who shall be serene, and who shall be distraught? Who shall study Torah, and who shall be tight-fisted? Who shall be truly alive, and who shall merely exist? Read this next part with me, please. through teshuvah, repentance, through tefillah, prayer, and through tzedakah, righteous giving, we can annul the decrees. We can reopen the future. We can reclaim our lives. We can change the future by changing ourselves. Implanted within us is the ability to pray, the urge to do right, and the power to repent. Rosh Hashanah yikatevun uv'yom tzom kippur yechatemun. On Rosh Hashanah it is written, and on Yom Kippur it is sealed. Tshuva, utfila, utstaka ma'avirin et roah gezerah. But repentance, prayer, and tzedakah help us to survive the difficult, painful times in life. We take a moment for silent prayer. When you are finished, please be seated. Amen. You know, back when I was growing up, I used to sit in Worcester, Massachusetts with my mom and dad and grandparents, and I used to hold on to my dad's seat and braid him and play and pretend to pay attention. Because I figured that the rabbi and the cantor would do all the work and all I had to do was show up. How silly I was then. And how silly you are now. Because we got some work to do. Some of you have already begun to engage in this yourselves, some with me and the cantor and Rabbi Julia last week. And now we're going to try it either again or for the first time. So we're going to do a guided meditation. You can do it, you don't have to do it, but maybe try it. You might find it meaningful. It won't hurt too much. Close your book, sit up straight if you're able to. Put your feet on the ground if you can. Those who are lying in your beds, hospital beds, you just be. Make yourself comfortable. Imagine that there is a string from your sit bones all the way up to your spine and your head, pulling you up straight. Put your hands on your lap, put your fingers together, or your palms up and open. Intertwine your fingers, whatever works. Close your eyes and breathe in. And hold it. And breathe out. And hold it. And breathe in. And hold it. And breathe out. And hold it. And keep doing that. I want to invite you to imagine that you are entering a familiar room that's filled with bookshelves. It might be your home or your childhood home. Perhaps it's a library or a bookstore. Maybe it's somewhere at college. Make sure it's somewhere comfortable and familiar. Imagine yourself perusing the bookshelves. See the familiar titles. Reach out and run your fingers along the book spines. Some of these books remind you of your favorite moments, sitting alone or with a loved one reading. You notice an unfamiliar book that catches your eye. Pull it gently from the shelf. Feel it's a heavy one, it's thick. Flip through the pages. Notice that the pictures are familiar, so familiar. You appear in most of them. Notice the writing, so familiar, because it's yours. Flip back to the front page. You read Sefer HaChaim, the book of life. And just below is written your name. This is the book of your life. Open now to the first section. Take a look at the pictures. There you are with companions from long ago and more recently, engaged in all sorts of activities. You see loved ones who have since passed on, former friends with whom you have lost contact. Are you warmed by the pictures? Are they bittersweet? Turn to the next section in Sefer HaChaim, the book of your life. Look at the title, Brachot, blessings, and Mitzvot, deeds of goodness. Written in your own handwriting, you recognize a list of all the wonderful things that have happened to you over your life and the deeds of goodness, the mitzvot, you did for others. Notice that the pages are in chronological order, so flip over to the year 5778, 2017-18, this past year. Take a moment to read a few of the entries. Try to recall where you were, what you did, how your year was filled with many blessings and good deeds. Notice if your list is long or short. If you wish you had a few more items on that list. It's time to turn to another section. Take a deep breath, because this is a difficult section to peruse. There, written in your own handwriting, you read Averot, sins, mistakes, and hurtful deeds. Let's flip forward to 5778. This past year, 2017-2018. Take another breath as you skim the list of mistakes and harmful, hurtful deeds you did over this past year. Notice if the list is long or short. Is it longer than your good deeds? Does this list overshadow those? You notice that a few lines of writing stand out. Either you wrote them with a darker marker or you were pressing down when you wrote these words. Yes, these are those bigger misdeeds where you really hurt others, someone else. Perhaps you note the names of people you care deeply about or people you really didn't know so well. Does it list a time when you harmed your family or ignored them? coworkers or employees treated poorly or unfairly, when you dealt callously with your community or yourself. Remember these misdeeds. Try to recall what you were thinking when you wrote these entries in the book of your life. Were you sad or angry, upset or nervous? Sit with the harm you caused. It's okay. Just breathe. Keep breathing. You notice there's a final section in the book. Flip to it. See the title? It says, Teshuvah, Repentance. It's strange. It's filled only with blank pages, but there's a pen attached. This is where the real work begins. This is where you can set out your thoughts, if you want, of how to right the wrongs you did. Here is where you can think privately about how to heal the pain you have caused. Now remember, our rabbis teach for sins between you and God, if you turn your heart, you fix the mistakes, Yom Kippur will atone. But for sins, mistakes, harm caused between you and another person, Yom Kippur does not atone for that until you two make peace. Sit quietly now and pick up the pen and take a moment to jot some notes about how you might make teshuvah, how you might repair the breach in this relationship. It's not just about saying you're sorry. It's about doing hard work of repair. Oh, and don't forget to breathe. There's never enough time, because time to put the book back down has come. So finish up what you're writing right now. But how about this? Close that book and imagine placing it in your backpack or your briefcase, your purse, or just stick it under your arm. You can take this book with you. It's my gift to you. After all, it is your book and it's your life. A past that is well documented, but a future still to be written. Our rabbis teach that Sha'arei Teshuvah, the gates of Teshuvah, of repentance, are always open. Heal the past and you open yourself up for an even better future. You can take this book with you. Spend some time these next 10 days during now and Yom Kippur. Do this, the holy work of these days, to begin to clean up our messes, to begin to repair our relationships, to begin to right our lives. It's now Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah. It's time to return to Or Amid, to the people who bring light. So when you're ready, breathe deep and open your eyes. May our prayers help prepare us to greet this new year. May our holy work help prepare us to make the new year a better one. That is my prayer. That is the prayer for you.
I pray you'll be our eyes
and watch us where we go,
and help us to be wise
in times when we don't know.
Let this be our prayer.
When we lose our way, lead us to a place, guide us with your grace, to a place where we'll be safe.
I pray you will find your light.
I pray you'll find your light
and hold it in our heart.
and hold it in our heart.
When stars go out each night.
When stars go out each night,
Remind us where you are. Let this be our prayer.
let this be our prayer.
When shadows fill our day.
When shadows fill our day, lead us to a place, guide us with your grace, give us faith so we'll be safe.
We ask that life be kind
And watch us from above.
We hope each soul will find
Oh, another soul to love.
Let this be our prayer.
Let this be our prayer, just like every child needs to find a place. Guide us with your grace. Give us faith so we'll be safe. Need to find a place. Guide us with your grace. Give us faith so we'll be safe.
So listen, getting there is hard work and painful and difficult and uplifting. And so we can turn to the Holy One, to Avinu, our parent, our Malkeinu, our sovereign. Some of you will understand God as a being, divine being. Some will understand it as the source of life. Some will understand God as an idea that you measure yourself up against to rise up to. Some will understand God as just existence that, like your computer, you plug into and then boot up. Some will see God as some crazy idea for the masses for control. If you ask me, God's all that and more. Open your heart. Maybe something will come in. We rise for Avinu Malkeinu. Page 56.
Avinu Malkeinu, though we may not always be worthy, give us yet another opportunity. Help us create a world of fairness, of kindness, of peace. Bless our families with peace. May we teach ourselves to appreciate the treasure of our lives. May we always find contentment with one another. May we save ourselves from dissension and jealousy. May we shield ourselves from pettiness and rivalry. May selfish pride not divide us. May pride in one another unite us. May we continually renew our love for one another. May we, the people of Israel, and all people everywhere, be granted health and fulfillment, justice, prosperity, love, and peace in the new year.
We read together on page 57 in Hebrew and in English. Avinu Malkeinu Shema Kolenu.
Avinu Malkeinu Chatanu Lefanecha.
Malkeinu, we have sinned. Avinu Malkeinu Chamol Aleinu Ve'al Olaleinu V'Tapenu. Avinu Malkeinu.
Avinu Malkeinu Kale Dever Ve'cherev Ve'ra'av Me'aleinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, help us to live. Avinu Malkeinu Kale Kol Tsar U'Mastein Me'aleinu.
Avinu Malkeinu Kotvenu B'Sefer Chaim Tovim.
Avinu Malkeinu, enter us into the... Avinu Malkeinu Chadesh Aleinu Shana Tova.
Avinu Malkeinu Chanenu Ve'anenu Ki Ein Banu Ma'asim Aseh Imanu Tzedaka V'Chesed V'Hoshienu.
Avinu Malkeinu, though we may be unworthy, do not give up on us. Inspire and encourage us, for you are both just and loving.
Avinu Malkeinu Shema Kolenu. Avinu Malkeinu Chatanu Lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu Chamol Aleinu Ve'al Aleinu V'Tapenu. Avinu Malkeinu Kol Dever Ve'cherev Ve'ra'av aleinu, Chodesh aleinu, Shana Tova. Shema kolenu.
We remain standing. Zichronot, memory. As we prepare for the second sounding of the shofar, may its notes awaken us to the memories that have formed our Jewish people and to the values that nurture each of us as individuals. Together, at this turning of the year, let my heart be open to every broken spirit. Let my senses be open to bearers of wisdom and new light, awakening. Essence of my life, urge me to honesty, judge me in mercy. Tkiya, Shivarim, Teruah, Tkiya, Tkiya, Shivarim, Tkiya, Tkiya, Trua, Tkiya,
Ki mitzion tetze Torah, Ki mitzion tetze Torah, udevar Adonai mirushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, le'amo Yisrael, bekedushato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shalom.
In a minute, we're going to send 2 Torahs down the end. There's a Torah up there that will be carried around to all of you in the balcony. We'll take 2 Torahs and we'll surf them this way. Don't pass them side to side. Pass them forward and back. Consider they're a baby. Just bring them all the way to the back. Touch them, kiss them, love them, and clap. there somewhere? Be seated. So we have this new app. It's not quite ready yet, but it'll be coming out soon. This is true. And before that, Peter Kraut has told me that those who had pre-ordered Tashlich parking tickets, there are some that haven't been picked up. He'll be at will call immediately after services for those who have them but have not picked them up. So we have a new app coming in. Cantor and I were talking, with Rabbi Julia too, this idea that during the Torah service it's great, we get to hold Torah, kiss it, touch it, then we get to connect. It's family, it's music, the whole background. And there's a thing in here where for Yom Kippur, if it's ready, you just press it, and then top right hand, you press that, and you can order. So it's like a social thing, so we'll be passing around hors d'oeuvres and stuff, so just pre-order them, and there are 3 kinds of drinks. You can have the Yom Kippur. Okay. That could have been so funny, but I just didn't have it right. Okay. So,
It's a really good idea for next year, though.
isn't that?
Yeah.
Yeah, for like
It's like the good seats at Dodger Stadium, or
That's it.
at the Hollywood Bowl. People come around and.
someone said, I'll give you $50,000 if you and the Cantor would come over my house, give me the whole thing, but like in 10 minutes. A little bit of this, a little bit. Yeah, no, okay. So, I'm done with that. Okay. But here, let's go for some serious. Turn to page 62, please. Look, I hate this story. Okay, I love it, but I hate it. It's sort of a love-hate thing I've got going on, because this story, the Akedah, the binding of Isaac, where a dad almost takes his son up to the top of the mountain, lifts up a knife and almost kills him. What great role modeling, right? Kids in the room, I'm totally kidding. Okay, parents, I'm totally kidding. But why did the rabbis have us read this story? There are so many other great ones, creation and others, but we have this story. So let's just review it for a second before we read it. You know, it's a story of God, according to it says, God says, Abraham, take your son, your only son, the one you love, Isaac. He actually had another one, Ishmael, the father of the Muslim people. And this story is in the Quran, just has it about Ishmael and not Isaac. But anyways, go to the land of Moriah. So he gets up the next morning really quickly and goes, and they walk for 3 days. And then they get to this mountain, Mount Moriah. And he tells the servants to stay there down below, Abraham does, and he and Isaac walk up the mountain together. And they get up there, and Isaac sort of senses something's going on, because here's the wood and here's the knife, but there's no lamb for the slaughter. But Abraham says, don't worry, kid, I've got this. God will provide the sheep for the burnt offering. And they walk on, and they get up there, and Abraham builds an altar, lays out the wood, and binds his son, Isaac, and lays him there on the altar. And he takes his hand and lifts up the knife, and he's about to do that sacrifice. And then an angel calls out and says, Abraham, Abraham, and he says, here I am. And the angel says, don't raise your son, your hand to the boy or do anything to him, for now I know that you fear God, since you have not withheld your son, your favored one, from me. And then he looks up, and there in the bushes is a ram. He goes and, how'd that ram get there? He goes and grabs the ram and sacrifices the ram in place of his son. And then an angel comes a second time and says, I swear, says the Eternal One, because you have done this and not withheld your son from me, I will bestow blessings upon you and make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the heaven and the sands on the seashore. And your descendants shall become a blessing because you obeyed my command. And then what happens? Abraham goes down to the servants and departs for Beersheba. And Abraham stays at Beersheba. Wait, where's Isaac? No Isaac. Took the son, okay, no Isaac. He took his son and Abraham, wife Sarah, not mentioned, 90 years old before she has this child. It was a gift from God. They lived longer back then, maybe. And she's not mentioned. It is a terrible, problematic, difficult story. Is it a story that we're supposed to be like him and offer up our kids, that nothing should get in our way of our passion for God? If you believe that, let me talk to you about the High Holiday Appeal in a little bit, because I could probably get some good. Or is it about something else? Did Abraham pass the test or fail the test, or was it a test at all? Where was Sarah? How did Isaac feel through this whole thing and after? Those are great questions, but I can't answer them for you. But let's think of them together as we read some Torah. So for this first Aliyah, I would like to call up all our bar and bat mitzvah students, youth and adults who are current congregants, to join us up here on the bima. So come on up, don't wait for your name. Can we have both mics, wireless mics turned on, both of them, please? Charlie and Lucy Landbaum, Brandon Schneider, Cassidy Benulo, Colin Mayer, Cooper Radican, Eric Yetterman, Genevieve Buccieri, Hannah Kalin, Hannah Levy, Isabella Edberg. Let's make a second row up here. Come on, some come in the front. You can do this or go in the back, either way. We have Izzy Lieberman, Jack Mintz, Jamie Greenberg, Kayla Farbenblum. I need your help. Come on over here. From here, come on over. You guys come right over here. I'm going to be calling up the adult B'nai Mitzvah class, so you guys come on up too, you people. Jimmy Grambroom, Kayla Farbenblum, Linus Linden, Luke Chiat, Madeline Menente, Madison Carlin, Mia Spiegel, Ryan Brooks, Sam Gurin, Zach Kramer. And our adults who became bar bat mitzvah this past year, come on up now. Marcy Cameron, Marcy Goldwater, Susie Gruber, Hillary Harrison, Lauren Lansbaum, Alyssa Linick, Michael Radican, Judy Steinberg, and Tali Sands. The words for the blessing are either in your prayer book on page 60 or they'll be up on the screen. And you can follow along. The Hebrew will be up on the screen, and I will try to point it out. Adonai Hamborach. Baruch Adonai Hamborach Le'olam Vaed. Amen. Forgive me, I forgot to fix that slide.
Amen. Vayehi achar hadivarim ha'ele v'ha Elohim nisa et Avraham vayomer elav Avraham vayomer hineni vayomer kachna et mincha et yechidecha asher ahavta et Yitzchak v'lech lecha el eretz hamoria v'ha'alehu sham le'olah o achad heharim asher omar elecha vayashkem Avraham baboker Vayachavosh et chamoro, vayikach et shnei ne'arav ito, ve'et Yitzchak beno, vayevaka atzei olah, vayakom vayelech el hamakom, asher amar lo ha'Elohim.
The blessings for after the Torah are on page 63. 1, 2. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tocheinu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Reading Torah is Brandon Schneider, son of Stephanie and Brian, brother of Austin. To all of you, our students, young ones, and young at heart, Eloheinu v'Elohei v'imotenu, may the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, grant each of you a thirst for knowledge and learning, a deep connection to Torah and Judaism, a recognition that we're at the beginning of a process of finding our souls, of understanding our lives. May you continue on this path, and we look forward to continuing with you. Mazal tov. Toda rabah, yesh koach. Oh, this story. Did you ever wonder what Abraham thought about in those years following his sacrifice, his almost sacrifice of his son Isaac? I often imagine what Abraham's inner struggles were like.
Sacrifice my son? What was I thinking? I'm Abraham. What, you need the robes and the staff? It's a holiday. As I held up the knife, I knew I had failed. In my passion to please, I lost my head, and my son Isaac almost lost his too. 3 days before, I heard God talking about Isaac, my son, my only one, from my wife Sarah, the one who is so beloved. God said, V'ha'alehu sham la'olah. Bring him up an olah. I figured God wanted a sacrifice, because the word olah, from the Hebrew root, ayin lamed hey, means to rise up. When you build a fire to make a sacrifice, the smoke rises up to God. If the Holy One wanted to sacrifice my Isaac, who was I to question? In fact, I rose early to do God's bidding, performing all the preparations myself. I saddled my own donkey, I chopped the firewood. I was so pumped to please. I didn't think to consult Sarah, the first Jewish wife. I didn't even kiss her goodbye. What was I thinking? Maybe I wasn't thinking. The Akedah, the binding of Isaac, the almost sacrifice of my son by my own hand, is the most painful moment in my life. Yet some characterize this as an example of my deep, unquestioning faith. I loved God so much, I was willing to give up the child we waited so long to bear. Others portray this as the definitive repudiation of child sacrifice, because in the end, I didn't kill my kid. In both cases, I seem heroic. But at night, when I toss and turn in bed, I wonder, how could I have been such a dangerous fool? I completely misunderstood God's intended purpose. That Hebrew root, ayin lamed hey, meaning sacrifice, also points to the word aliyah, meaning spiritual uplift. In retrospect, I realized that God did not specify slaughter him, but only bring him up. Did God want me to bring Isaac up to the top of the mountain, to introduce him to my passion for the divine, and then to bring him back down again? It was supposed to be father and son spiritual quality time. In my haste, I sacrificed the protection of my child. I caused my family significant pain and stress. I scarred my son for life. When Isaac closes his eyes at night, does he also see the horrific image of his father raising up the knife? Thankfully, the angel of God stopped me before, providing a ram in Isaac's stead. Afterward, God was kind, but not pleased, praising me, "You will be greatly blessed," and reaffirming his love for my descendants. God also signaled that humans can no longer use cruel and intimidating means to show our love for God. The angel's words remind some of the parent who returns to his freshly painted house to be greeted by their smiling young child who says, "Mommy, Daddy, come, see how much I love you." To be led into the next room where the child has painted a giant red heart on the wall with the words, "Mommy, Daddy, I love you," in the middle. How is a parent to react to such a display of love? Some parents would yell loudly, "You know who you are." But if we stop and think, we might say, with a tear of love in our eyes, "My beautiful child, next time try paper. You are no longer allowed to write on the walls and I love you too." This incident transformed all our relationships. Isaac took off and we haven't spoken since. God no longer talked to me directly, using intermediaries from that moment on. And Sarah died before I could return home and tell her. And me, I can't even stand myself because I failed the real test. I loved God, but I did not love God's child sufficiently. because I didn't protect my Isaac. That's the lesson for future generations. God wants us to love and protect our children as the ultimate expression of our love for God. Did you get it, descendant? Did you get it, descendant? It doesn't get any clearer than that, does it? Shana Tova.
Congregant Steve Greenberg. For our second Aliyah, I'd like to invite up all those who have traveled in the past years with Or Ami on trips to Israel or Cuba or Eastern Europe, or those who will travel with Or Ami this summer to Israel on the multi-generational family trip or to Italy. Let me see the next slide if I can. Look at that. Upper left, Cantor Doug and I are leading a trip to Italy in May. It's going to be great. Jewish Italy. We're going to Rome and Florence. There will be a pre-trip to Venice. Some people are hanging out and going to the Amalfi Coast afterwards. And we have a family multi-generational trip in June. It's almost full. If you're interested, send me an email in the next week or so. Information is on our website, orami.org/travel. Reading Torah for this Aliyah is Marcy Cameron, one of our adult Benot Mitzvah, and serving as Gabbai, and with her husband Clark, serving as Gabbai, helping read and learn is the incomparable Diane Townsend, who trains and teaches our young bar and bat mitzvah students and our adult bar and bat mitzvah students. I will tell you that if you haven't done it, if you haven't become a bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah as a kid, do this class. It's 2 years, but it will change your life, your spirituality. And if you've already become a bar or bat mitzvah, we have an adult confirmation program. It's a 2-year program. It's going to be fantastic. Study once a week with Rabbi Julia or me on the big issues, once a month, the big issues of Judaism, and then once a month do Torah study with any of us, our interns or other scholars. It's going to be amazing. If you were confirmed as a kid, you can still do the adult confirmation. If you were bar bat mitzvah already, you can't do the adult bar bat mitzvah, but you can't do the confirmation. So the second Aliyah we have traveled the world, and we will continue. Why? It's a chance to see another culture. It's a chance to learn Judaism through the eyes of another nation or people. It's a chance to hang out with one of your rabbis and your cantor. It's a chance to build deep relationships with others. So the blessings for Torah for this Aliyah are on page 62. Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et torato, baruch ata Adonai.
Amen. Bayom hashlishi, vayisa Avraham et Enav, Vayar et Hamakom merachok, Vayomer Avraham el Ne'arav, Shvu lachem po'im hachamor, va'ani v'hana'ar, nelcha adko, v'nishtachaveh, v'nashuva alechem. Vayikach Avraham et atzei ha'olah, vayasem al Yitzchak beno, vayikach biyado et ha'esh ve'et hama'achelet, vayelchu shnehem yachdav.
The blessings on page 63. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata v'toreinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, our God and God of our fathers and mothers. Bless all of us, especially those of you at this moment who have traveled or will travel with Orami on our trips. May the journeys we've taken or the journeys we will take open our eyes to the complexity and nuance in this world, in our lives. For those who travel to the Holy Land of Israel, may you see the beauty and the sights. May you see the people. May you see the glorious places, and may you see the challenges. May you see Israelis, may you see Palestinians, may you see the successes, and may you see the continued challenges. Those traveling elsewhere, see what the Jewish community once was and what it is now. See our role to remember and our role to continue to teach. And may we each come back to share the journey and the stories with others as we open our hearts and minds together. And we all say, Amen. So my favorite part of those trips, I'm vamping here, was the food. The breakfasts were just incredible.
In Israel?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
No other place. Especially at the hotels we were at.
Those were good hotels. Yeah. Italy, the trip is like an adult trip to Italy, but I think we should just call it like wine, food, gelato, and some Jewish stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Good. My wife has it set up like 2 gelato stops a day.
Okay.
We're not going anywhere, but we'll hit the 2.
That's all we're going to do.
That's all. That's it. Well, yeah. Look, we heard from Abraham, and Abraham is an intense story. You never hear from Sarah, his wife. Did you notice that his wife Sarah is never mentioned in the Akedah? That she lived, we know, 127 years. And we know she died in the next Torah portion, right after this almost sacrifice. I always wondered where she was during this incident. I imagine that Sarah, in her quiet way, perhaps even behind the scenes, not used to being up in the public as much, played a larger role. And at the end of her life, She reflected back on that most difficult situation.
I remember lying quietly in our tent. Abraham had fallen asleep right beside me. My mind drifted back to my favorite memory of the day when 3 guests came to tell me I was pregnant. After so many years, I actually laughed out loud until the source of life reassured me it was true. With Isaac, God gave me my life's greatest joy. Suddenly, Abraham began stirring and called out, "Hineni, here I am." And then he began to talk to God. As I often did, I pretended to be asleep so I could listen in. At first, what I heard made little sense. Though I could only hear Abraham's response, I sensed that God requested something involving Isaac. Abraham's steady voice suddenly quivered, and I thought I heard him say the word sacrifice. Had the Eternal One just commanded that my husband sacrifice our son? Why would God, who had given me Isaac, take this special gift from me now? And strangely, Abraham truly believed that God wanted him to sacrifice our son. I wanted to urge Abraham to challenge God like he had at Sodom and Gomorrah. But Abraham's eyes burned fiercely, and for the first time, he excluded me from contemplating God's message. I felt powerless to intervene. Finally, Abraham fell asleep again, though fitfully, as if struggling with a demon. I needed air. I stepped outside to think. I would give up my life before I would let harm come to Isaac. The merciful one who had blessed us with a child would not now take him away. I walked aimlessly around the camp's altar until I spied Abraham's knife. I trembled as I thought of that knife up against Isaac's throat. What was it that God was looking for? Why did God need reassurance of our commitment? I remembered God's promise that our offspring would inherit this land and become a great nation. I always assumed that Isaac would follow in our footsteps to lead the tribe, but I never considered just how he would inherit our commitment to serve God. Abraham and I were not getting any younger. If we were to pass on the covenantal responsibility, it would have to become soon. Perhaps God was hinting that it was time for Isaac to begin that transition of leadership. My heart began to pound as I realized Abraham had misunderstood. God was commanding an offering to help transmit leadership to Isaac. A sacrifice of our finest flocks was called for, not a sacrifice of Isaac. I realized then that the future of our people depended upon me. It was on me. I had to prevent this nonsensical death and ensure our continued covenant with God. I hoped Abraham would figure this out himself, but if he did not, I decided to intervene. So I went back to bed. I closed my eyes, and I planned my next steps. Abraham got up early, gathered his supplies, and took off with Isaac. He didn't even try to wake me. No explanation, not even a kiss goodbye. As soon as they were gone, I gathered my supplies and took our finest ram. I followed them carefully, hiding in the shadows. At dawn on the 3rd day, as they slept, I hurried up the mountain, releasing the ram into the bushes. The rest happened really quickly. Abraham was holding the knife, about to sacrifice Isaac. He seemed to be in a trance, so in my voice that he often called angelic, I called out, "Avraham, Avraham!" That broke the trance. Realizing what he was about to do, he dropped the knife and looked up. And then he saw the ram that I had brought for him to sacrifice. Relieved at having saved my son's life, and grateful for having ensured the survival of our people, I was exhausted. I cried, and I cried, and I lay down on the ground to rest for what I sensed would be a very long sleep.
I don't know. For our third Aliyah, I'd first like to call forward our reader, which is Genevieve Buccieri. And I would like to invite, as the first person who will help me bless, I guess if my wife was just up here, I can't call her my girlfriend, but 94-year-old Dina Rosenthal with her son Robert and daughter-in-law Catherine. Come on up. This third Aliyah is for so many of us. We read Torah together. We get together. Yeah. Once you hit like 92, every year is a blessing. I know you're kidding. So for this third Aliyah, we want to honor as transitions to holiness. So I'm going to ask you to rise if one of these is you, and then stay standing. If in this last year you had surgery or survived an accident, dealt with major illness, or are still fighting through, we invite you to please rise. If in this past year you traveled to our holy land of Israel, or have a child or grandchild who did or is studying there, please rise. If you prioritized saving our world and our environment, and this year or recently started to drive a hybrid or an electric car, put up new solar panels, switched out your old appliances for an energy-efficient model, ask me about the new extra strength toilet thing we got. It's 1 gallon of water. It's really good. Probably shouldn't have said that either. Or you changed out your lawn, please rise. If this year you found new love or recommitted to current love, please rise. If you stood up for someone who was being bullied, discriminated against, or yourself was the target of sexism, racism, anti-Semitism, or more, and you are powering through, please stand. If you gave birth to a baby, adopted a baby, or your child, parent, or other relative did, please rise. If you celebrated a birthday or anniversary divisible by 5, or at least know that it's divisible by 5 because it ends in a 5 or 0, please rise. If you plan to vote in the November 2018 elections, no matter who you vote for, a Jewish imperative, please rise. If this year you committed to doing something difficult between now and the elections, which includes holding in check your desire to throttle someone with whom you disagree, and instead commit to talking, please rise. If you signed up to learn something new, expanded your mind, or thus your life, or you sent a child or grandchild or sister or brother off to college, please rise. If you had a relationship that was messed up and you either healed it or took the first steps to healing it, please rise. If when I finish talking you need to take a breath, please rise. The blessings are up on the screen. Remember, you chant the dark ones, we'll do the light, bright ones, we'll do the dark line, and then you do, repeat it back, and we'll continue. 1, 2, 3.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamavorach.
Baruch Adonai Havorach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai hamavorach leolam vaed. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. Venatan lanu et Torato. Baruch ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Vayomer Yitzchak el Avraham Aviv. Vayomer Avi. Vayomer Hineni Veni. Vayomer Hine Ha'esh V'ha'etzim. Ve'ayeh Haseh Le'olah. Vayomer Avraham Elohim Yir Elo Haseh Le'olah Beni. Vayelchu Shnehem Yachdav. Vayavo'u El Hamakom Asher Amar Lo HaElohim. Vayiven Sham Avraham et Hamizbeach. Vaya'aroch et Ha'etzim. Vaya'akod et Yitzchak beno. Vayasem oto al Hamizbeach. Mima'al la'etzim.
Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher natan lanu Torat emet. V'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, our God and God of our fathers and mothers, bless us, each of us, this holy community, young and not as young, beginning the journey of life and with so much to teach us about the journey of life, filled with hopes and dreams, and able to teach us that if we breathe a little bit, if we open our hearts and our souls, goodness will come. May we be blessed with parnasah, with bracha, with ahava and shalom, with love, with goodness and blessing, with economic prosperity, with safety and health and peace. And let us say, Amen. Please be seated. Here's the way I look at it. We've heard from Abraham, and we've heard from Sarah. But what about Isaac? Do you know later on in the Torah, Isaac is described as having weak eyes, which is considered by many of the commentators as a metaphor for his inability to see what his twin sons, Jacob and Esau, need from him. I often wonder, why was Isaac so poorly prepared to father his boys? I often imagine it had something to do with Isaac's messed up relationship with his own father.
I was really excited when Dad told me we were going mountain climbing. My dad, Abraham, was a macher, very important person, always talking incessantly with Adonai. He planned to be the father of many peoples whose name would be a blessing. I didn't care about any of that. As his teenage son, supposedly his favorite, the one he said he loved, I just craved quality time with my dad. You'd think that a guy who spent his days making holy connections with people would do the same thing with his own family. But we weren't really close. Maybe it's because he had me so late in life. When I got frustrated about Dad's inattention, my mom, Sarah, reassured me that he loved me, but that he was driven to succeed. Most men, she explained, found their identity and self-worth through their work. To be honest, I sometimes felt Dad used work to avoid me because he didn't know how to deal with me, or show emotion, or talk about personal stuff. When Dad finally focused on our wilderness trip, he woke early, saddled the donkey himself, and even gathered all the firewood and tools. So out of character for him. We had servants. For a wealthy man to engage in such menial tasks meant that he was filled with anticipation. I hoped that it meant that my father really wanted to spend time with me. We set out pretty early. When Mom didn't come to see us off, I knew that something was up. To this day, I'm not sure if Mom knew then what Dad was planning, or if she just found out later. Mom died before we returned. Did she die of a broken heart after hearing what Dad almost did to me? God, I miss her. Dad told me that we'd be offering a sacrifice to Adonai. He never let me participate before. Why wasn't I good enough to help? But now I couldn't contain my excitement. My first sacrifice, a shehechianu moment. I kept a journal of the trip. I wrote, V'yelchu shnechem yachtav, and the two of them, well, us, walked on together. I tried to engage Dad in conversation. I said, Dad? Yes, my son, he answered distantly. Here's the wood and the knife, but where's the lamb for the burnt offering? At first he was silent, eyes distant. Then he answered quietly, God will see to the sheep for the offering, my son. Even today, those words haunt me. He was hinting that my son, me, was to be the sacrifice in his holy work. Those were the only words we spoke. I wrote again, the two of them walked on together. I laughed at the irony. We walked together? Even when my dad was there, his mind was elsewhere. I felt alone. How can I explain what happened to me on the mountain? I was exhausted from the hike. He wrapped me in a blanket, laid me down. I dozed fitfully. Nothing was turning out as I hoped. Dad built the altar. He didn't use my help. I felt straitjacketed, like his inability to reach out to me was tying me up, holding me down. His interminable silences, the fact that he didn't really see me, sliced through my heart like a knife. Maybe my dad didn't really mean to hurt me. Maybe he was just trying to do what he thought dads were supposed to do. Be strong, be the breadwinner. Maybe all that pressure somehow overloaded him, making him distant. All I remember is hurting inside. I'd hoped that this trip would change things, that he would bring me up to introduce me to Adonai so we could offer the sacrifice together. Instead, my dad sacrificed our time together. When he drew the knife himself across the ram's throat, it felt as if he had severed the thin bonds of our relationship. Abraham called that place Adonai Yireh, meaning on the mount of Adonai there is vision. Yeah, that day my vision was crystal clear. I couldn't forgive his inattention. It hurt too much. Our relationship had to end. That day, Abraham departed with his servants for Beersheba. He was praised worldwide for his unswerving faith. His name became a blessing. But I left separately. I never talked to my dad again. The next time I saw him was at his funeral. Sometimes I am so mad that I can't see straight. He left me so ill-equipped to handle my own sons. I never really had a good father role model. Why is it that relationships between fathers and sons and parents and children generally, which should be so close, are sometimes so distant and painful? Maybe we all learned it from Father Abraham.
Thank you to Brandon Holzer for voicing Isaac, and to Michelle November, my wife, for voicing Sarah. And thank you to Steve Greenberg for voicing Abraham. And thank you to modern technology, the iPhone and Dropbox, and ancient technology glasses, so that I can read the final part that I somehow misplaced. So look, like Abraham, each of us will make mistakes through misunderstanding or overenthusiasm. And in our self-righteousness or haste, we become blind to how our actions affect others. As a result, we too often sacrifice those we love most on the altar of our passions. Like Isaac, we each face experiences that eviscerate our sense of wholeness, that create within us a narrative that co-opts our emotional, mental, or spiritual journey. And in the depth of our anger or pain, what they did to us, what he or she did to me, we fail to see that healing and forward motion are possible. So we sacrifice our peace of mind instead of becoming agents of our own wholeness. And like Sarah, each of us will find ourselves in critical junctures in the stories of our lives, when we realize that the future depends on our seeing clearly and acting decisively for our children, for our people, for our nation, for ourselves. In a world dominated by those whose ideological intensity leans towards control and violence, we can become agents of wholeness and holiness by quietly, firmly, angelically, guiding those we love and those we know and those we see toward emet, truth, and tzedek, justice, toward chesed, kindness, and shalom, wholeness, and peace. Abraham, Sarah, Isaac, three characters from a very ancient story, right? Or maybe three pathways for us today. Will we sacrifice our children or our families or others because of misunderstanding or self-indulgence? Will we allow ourselves to be burdened lifelong by the pain of what others did to us? Or will we grasp onto the ram of responsibility and intervene for a better tomorrow? As far as I can tell, none of us are tied up on an altar. Each of us has a choice. This is the hard work of the high holy days, to make choices going forward. So make choices. Make good choices. l'chayim to life, l'simcha for joy, u'lishalom for wholeness and peace, for yourself, but hey, for everybody else too. Shana tova u'mituka. We each hold on to difficulty, trauma, pain, or loved ones do. Some of us are struggling with physical illness, our own or those of people we love, that sucks the life out of us, that makes it hard to go on day by day. Some chronic. We ourselves or others are facing mental illness and often dealing with it in the shadows because of the shame others foolishly put on just another kind of illness. Some of us are in such emotional turmoil, or our loved ones are, that the world looks so challenging. Some of us are struggling spiritually to find our center, our place, our way forward. Whenever we gather together, we say a blessing for all of them, for all of us, for all of you. As is our tradition, as I bring my hand around the room, it passes where you're sitting. As I pass by those of you who are watching and praying through the internet, please say the names and relationships of those for whom you're asking for blessings of healing. And then we'll sing together a Misha Berach. Tonight, this morning, we ask for blessings for
my friend Eileen.
For all of them and all of us, we pray these words of healing.
Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. Let us say bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say
In a moment, we'll lift up the Torah so everyone can see what was read. If you're able to see closely, as Diane pointed out to me, this Torah portion, particularly the letters, are starting to come off, where maybe a year, maybe two, before we won't even be able to use this Torah because of this section and some others. So we have to start a conversation about repairing our Torah scrolls, and probably it's time also to scribe a Torah, because that's what the cantor wants, that's what will make happen. In honor of you, Cantor Doug Kotler Torah. Let's talk about that. Let me invite you to please rise as we give honor to the Torah.
Chaim hi lemachazikim ba v'tom ha'ah mehushar derachea darcheno v'chol tivotea shalom Hashivenu Adonai Elecha v'nashuva Chadesh Chadesh Yameinu Chadesh Yameinu
I'm making a change. Next week I'll go more in depth on it. But folks, this feeling you get from the High Holy Days, this self-reflection, the joy, the inspiration, there's a way to carry this feeling forward throughout the year. And the answer is a 30-second inspirational, thought-provoking video that appears every Monday and is tailored for you. When we leave, remember this website, orami.org/newsletter. It's pretty easy. I was thinking about having you take out your phones, but then you'll check your email and you'll order for lunch, and I'm not going to do that. But we will next week. So sign up. You will, by signing up, receive our fabulous interactive Orami newsletter. It's meant for you. And it's, as we mentioned, just click on the video message, and I think you will be inspired for the week ahead. Words from me, words from Cantor Doug, music from Cantor Doug, words from Rabbi Julia. There are also other cool things like a weekly Who Knew, showing something uniquely Jewish happening around the world that I think you'll find fascinating, as well as an interactive calendar of all the Orami events so you can easily share everything on social media. Equally great on our new website. How great? I blew that. Equally great is our new website. You say, how great? Okay, you can now click on a button called Music for the Soul. And Cantor Doug has created a playlist for different moods: Shabbat, healing, uplifting, even funny Jewish parodies. Take a look at everything going on at Orami. There are things you didn't even know existed, and now you're going to want to be part of it. Check it out, orami.org/newsletter. Don't do that now. In addition, what's my next slide? Hold there, don't do that yet. Each year, we have Mitzvah Day in November. We collect tens of thousands of donated items to fill bags of comfort for children entering emergency foster care. We have received feedback from the social service agencies that, and I quote, "These bags have served as a lifeline for our children as they transition to their first foster care placement or from one foster home to another. These bags give our children hope and a sense of belonging. It's a wonderful thing to see a child's face light up in the midst of a very challenging and stressful situation. When you leave here today, in addition to the Sova bag that I hope you'll fill with food so we can feed the incredible numbers of hungry people in this city and in this large in Southern California. One of our volunteers will also hand you a Mitzvah Day flyer. Information on how you can be involved and donate is on the flyer. And we hope you'll mark November 4th, a Sunday, to be with us at the temple when we fill the bags. There are so many other announcements, and there's a note on, as I said last night, there's a note on here that says, when announcements come, don't vamp. You always make the service go way too long, Rabbi. Stop now and just say, roll 'em. Roll 'em. You going to Tashlich?
I am going to Tashlich.
That's
I
good.
have my clothes in the back room there.
Oh, so it's not, Sid doesn't have the Tashlich parking packages if they prepaid.
Peter does.
Peter does. He's not going to be at the front. No shrimp, no pork or shellfish either.
Yeah, maybe bring a sweatshirt to the beach.
It's going to be a little chilly?
Well,
Okay.
maybe once the sun goes down.
Seriously though, Yizkor Memorial, it's in the morning. We used to do it in the evening, but it's the morning there.
And then we go back to Orami.
Oh, I like it there. Family services? You're going to dress?
It's going to be crowded.
Oh,
There'll
cool.
be a
And then
lot
we
of
have
people.
Ni'ilah, the concluding service. I don't know why people go to the beginning of a movie, a show, and then don't see the ending. Yeah.
What's the parchment thing?
So take a Yizkor scroll parchment when you leave. Write the
Oh, I
names and stories of deceived loved ones. Bring them back to Ni'ilah and wrap them up, and we'll put them in the ark and create the stories. If you brought children, please pick them up. There's no lost and found. Be patient and safe as you exit the parking structure. Wait, read that.
If you have a kvetch, wait 3 days.
Yeah. If you have a kvel, email us. Tell us immediately. We'd love to hear it. If you have a kvetch, wait 3 days. If it still seems important, then communicate it with kindness sandwiched between praise. A lot of people put a lot of work into making these services for you. I hope you enjoyed or found meaningful 82.6%. That's the goal. You know, this is all important and all good, but the most important piece is yet to come. I want to introduce you to someone who astounds me with her leadership, with her thoughtfulness. Well, I'll let her introduce herself.
Shana Tova. My name is Jamie Kleinberg, and I'm the president of our Temple High School Youth Group, LOMTI, or Light of My People Temple Youth. To best explain to you what LOMTI is and what we do there, I should start off by letting you know that 3 years ago, it's highly unlikely that I would have been giving this speech. Just 3 years ago, I was one of the shyest kids in my classes. I pretty much kept to myself, and I let other people take the lead. I was also sure that LOMTI, a Temple Youth Group, was not for me, and I was terrified of public speaking. In just 3 years, 4 of those 5 things have changed. I'm still terrified of public speaking. Yet here I am, talking to you, the biggest audience I've ever been in front of, and being genuinely excited to do so. A great deal of that change can be attributed to LOMTI. In LOMTI, I have learned more about being a leader than I ever could have imagined. LOMTI has taught me that being a leader doesn't mean being the loudest one in the room, lucky for me, and that leading a group of peers can be very rewarding. At LOMTI events, it's true that we do a lot of goofy things. We play games where we share shower thoughts with the group and discuss them in depth. We throw water balloons at each other, we play with M&Ms, and we run around intently during games of sharks and minnows. While all of these activities may seem silly, and they are, these games push us beyond our comfort zones and allow us to grow as people. Once we are all comfortable with each other, the real fun begins. Just a short while after playing one of those silly games, we will explore a pressing social justice issue or engage in a program that makes us reevaluate the way that we treat others. LOMTI offers a unique opportunity in that the learning we do together is not taught by an adult, but by our peers as we learn from one another. As anxious first-time participants become more and more comfortable in LOMTI, they become the people leading the activities before you even know it. Through LOMTI, I have met some of the most intelligent, kind, passionate people that I know, all of whom have inspired me to take leadership these past few years. With their partnership and support, I have grown into someone who would willingly and eagerly speak to a large audience because I want to share this amazing opportunity with others. So I would like to invite any 9th through 12th grade teen to give us a try. You may not think that LOMTI is the place for you, and at first I didn't either, until I gave it a try and it pulled me in, just like it can you. Lomti is the friendly teens that come to the events, the thoughtful teens that plan the events, and the passionate teens that love it, which is why part of Lomti is me, and part of Lomti can be you too. So if you have a teen in your family, please encourage them to try Lomti. And more importantly, if you are a teen and you hear about an event that interests you, please come check us out. You never know when you might just end up where I am today. Shana Tova, I hope you all have a sweet new year.
In a moment, standing with family and friends to hear the sound, we'll be hearing the sounding of the Tekiah Gedolah, and we'll be linked not only with Jews today in Israel and throughout the world and here in America, but with Jews and Jewish families of generation past. Many of us has memories of services when we stood with loved ones to hear the shofar's call. Though they are gone, our departed are still with us. They inspire us to live as in their higher moments they themselves sought to live. We remember them now. They remain in our hearts. They are a continual blessing. When you leave today, we'll be passing out, the ushers will be passing out packets of parchment paper. Instead of printing up a book with names, we give you pages, and the most powerful thing I ask you to do is write not just the names of the people you're remembering, but write a little remembrance about them. After services, when you come back for Yizkor, roll it up and there's a little ribbon and tie it, and there will be baskets here. And during the service, we put them into the ark, the scrolls of our people connecting with the scrolls of our people. And after services, we unroll them, and unless you specifically say don't do it on your sheet, we make it into a book that we place in our foyer so people can read and remember the loved ones you hold in your hearts. So we remember now all those whose, we're going to go back before the shofar. Let's do Yizkor. Can we go back, Kaddish, can we go back to that on the slides? Mourner's Kaddish, leave it there, yes. I changed around the order, sorry. And so we take a moment to remember our loved ones who are no longer with us, those who died at this season and in years past. Let's, as one group, share all the names, fill this room with names of loved ones who we are remembering in this new year, whose memories we carry forward. So this morning we are remembering page 74. Please rise. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah be'alma divera chirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael ba'agalav v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach leolam u'lolmei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitdaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kedusha brichu. Leila min kol berachata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Shlomo Rabbah min Shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'rumav, u'yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved, as we say together, amen. I have this app, and I get teased for it incessantly by my family. I can't tell you the name of it because I can't use the words up here, but what the app does is it tells you when a good time's to leave a movie to go to the bathroom, and if you scroll down, it tells you if there are any after credits. And I'm the one who's sitting in my seat as everyone's leaving, and I say to people, don't go. You got to be here for the after credits. Don't go. There's something happening on the screen afterwards. Folks, don't go. There's something happening. don't go. There's something on these after credits that you just got to see. Trust me. I promise you. It'll be good. But now for the shofar service. Jump ahead 2 slides. There. Someone cried out to God. Together. Adonai, the world is in such a mess.
Everything seems wrong. Why don't you send someone to help them change the world?
The voice of God replied.
I sent you.
We pray for life, asking for a year of health and happiness. Send me, Hineni, Shilacheni. Here I am, send me. We believe in tomorrow. We believe that we have the power to make tomorrow different from today. We believe that poverty need not be permanent and that people need not learn war anymore. We believe that there can yet be a time of peace and a time of justice, a time of tranquility for all who live on earth. We believe that we can have a share in bringing that day closer by the way in which we live in the new year. The world may smile at our dreams, but no matter, we still believe. Tkiya, Shavarim, Trua, Tkiya, Tkiya, Shavarim, Tkiya, Tkiya, Trua, Tkiya Gedola. Shana Tova, you'll be back, I know, for Yom Kippur. Hit it.
Oh, say, Shalom bimromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oh, say, Shalom bimromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yeshvei tevel vimru amen. Al kol Yisrael vimru amen. Adon olam asher malach beterem kol yitzir nivra le'et nasa vechefso kol azai melech shemo nikra ve'acharei kichlot hakol לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון עולם אשר מלך דה 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 והוא אחד ואין שני להמשיך לו להכבירה בלי ראשית בלי תכלית ולא העוז והמזרח והוא אלי וחי גולי וצור חבלי וצרה והוא ניסי ומנוס לי מנת כוסי ביום אקרא אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נשא בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא בידו אף כדרוכי בית אישן וירן באמרוכי ויאתי אדוני לי ולא ra da 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 Shana Tova.